Every market dies. That's not drama, that's entropy. Startups get to pick how they surf new waves. You don't. You were already picked. So the question isn't how to stop the decline. It's what survives it. And what do you do with it? Welcome to the Enduring Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Zachary Alexander. Circuit City figured this out. Too late for the parent company, but not for what it built. Someone inside asked, what do we actually know that isn't about TVs and stereos? What they found wasn't glamorous. Inventory systems, pricing discipline, big box operation. The boring infrastructure that actually runs a retail business. None of it needed TVs to work. So they built CarMax. Circuit City went bankrupt in 2008. CarMax is worth $12 billion. Same knowledge, different container. One survived the transfer, the other didn't. Circuit City extracted what was most valuable. Most don't. Kodak didn't fail because they missed digital. They invented digital in 1975. The imaging science, the sensor technology, all of it lived inside Kodak before anywhere else. What Kodak had was a traditional incumbent strategy. They were fighting to protect film while sitting on knowledge that didn't need film to work. The question they never asked, what do we know that transfers? They were too busy defending a container to notice what was inside it. Blockbuster had distribution logistics across 9,000 locations. Sears had supply chain infrastructure that built middle-class America. Extraction isn't the default, it's a rare exception. Most institutional knowledge dies in place within the container it grew up in. Not because it couldn't transfer, but because no one thought to ask if it should. Entropy doesn't send a calendar invite. It starts slow, easy to ignore, then accelerates. Circuit City bit CarMax when the cracks were visible, not when the floor gave out. That's the only window that works. By the time decline is obvious, you're not building, you're surviving. Different game entirely. Entropy is always coming for your company, your market, your industry. What's changed is the mounting pressure from the AI capabilities avalanche. AI capabilities are doubling every 7 months, not just the models, the tools, the infrastructure, everything inside the ecosystem. That's not a trend line. That's pressure building. And like any avalanche, it starts with a few pebbles, easy to ignore. Then it becomes an unstoppable force that buries everything in its path. The good companies find time to move their valuables before things really get going. Circuit City had years before visible cracks and the floor collapsing. The window is compressing. The capabilities avalanche doesn't pause for your planning cycle. Your competitors may not ever be able to fully replicate what you've done, but they may be able to get close enough that it doesn't matter, and that may only take a few months. AI isn't the threat some make it out to be. Entropy is, was, and always will be the threat. AI just compresses the timeline. What did Circuit City actually extract? Not inventory software, not pricing spreadsheets. They extracted how they thought, the operational patterns, the decision-making instincts, the hard-won knowledge of what works at scale. That's institutional knowledge. Here's the uncomfortable question. Where does yours live? If it's in your senior team leads, in undocumented processes, in legacy systems that only work in one location, it's trapped. It dies with the market unless someone pulls it out. Before extraction comes recognition. You can't transfer what you can't see. The knowledge that transfer isn't in your pitch deck. It's not in your marketing brief. Why would it be? These aren't AI native tools for capturing how your organization thinks. They're tools for traditional incumbent presentation, designed to present, not to preserve. It's how you make decisions under uncertainty, how you manage complexity, how you price when the variables don't fit the model. That's the knowledge that transfers. It has become so embedded, it's invisible, just how we do things. Finding it requires the right researchers. And here's what most companies miss. Everyone in your organization is a researcher. The floor manager, the account rep, the operations lead who's been quietly solving problems for 2 decades. They all carry tacit knowledge that never shows up in any data set. The identification problem isn't just about asking the right question. It's about asking the right people. The knowledge that transfer is distributed across your entire organization, hiding in expertise that's never been documented because no one thought to ask. The difference between trapped and portable knowledge comes down to one thing. Is the reasoning captured or just the outcome? Most systems store outcomes, the decision, the transaction, the deliverable. What they don't store is the why, the context, the trade-offs, the pattern recognition that led to the call. That's what Circuit City extracted. Not the inventory system, the thinking behind how they ran. The question is whether you have infrastructure that captures reasoning as work happens, or whether it walks out the door every night. Circuit City found used cars. What's your CarMax? That's what traditional incumbents would ask. But it's the wrong framing. Find Your CarMax assumes a single bet, one container, get it right or fail. The better question, what knowledge can we systematically expose where it will be highly valued? The operational discipline is table stakes here. What about where it's rare? Pricing instincts are expected in your industry. Where would they be extraordinary? Your complexity management style is invisible because everyone in your market has it. Where would it be transformational? You don't answer these questions with a strategic retreat or a whiteboard. You answer these questions by building an adaptive swarm that includes small initiatives, experiments, and the strategic equivalent, decoys. The extraction window is compressing. You need a discovery process that moves faster than the capabilities avalanche. Once again, we come back to why don't most companies extract? It's not ignorance, it's identity. We're a TV company. We're a film company. We're a retail company. That sounds like descriptions. They're not. They're self-limiting factors, and self-limiting factors don't die quietly. The people who most value the current market are the ones most invested in it. The executives who built their entire career on your core product. The team that spent years mastering your current operations. The leadership that staked their reputations on the strategies that got you here. They're not going to see what transfers as a good thing because it's core to what they think of themselves. Here's the opportunity. Your competitors face the same resistance. Their best people are defending the current market because their careers depend on it. They've locked in identity, not strategy. While they're protecting containers, you can be systematically surfacing institutional knowledge and discovering where it compounds. Their resistance is your extraction window. There's a pattern emerging in drone warfare that we can use in business strategy. Billion-dollar weapon systems, aircraft carriers, fighter jets, precision-guided missiles are being neutralized by swarms of drones that cost a few $100s. Commodity airframes, consumer-grade components, not proprietary technology, just volume, speed, and adaptive intelligence. Traditional incumbents are locked into expensive proprietary systems, custom AI infrastructure, 7-figure implementation, new megawatt data centers. They made their bets when the technology was immature, and now they're defending that investment because admitting it was premature would be career-ending. Meanwhile, consumer-grade AI is doubling in capability every 7 months. What required a 7-figure investment last year will be table stakes later this year. You don't need their resources. You don't need their infrastructure. You need a drone maker posture, commodity tools deployed in adaptive swarms, systematically exposing knowledge and discovering where it's highly valued. They're trotting out new aircraft carriers. You sink them using drones. The capabilities avalanche doesn't care about their investment. It buries everything in its path. Here's what changes Monday morning. You stop thinking of institutional knowledge as single use. The way you price, the way you manage complexity, the way you make decisions under uncertainty. None of that belongs to your current market. It just lives there. Circuit City inventory systems didn't need television. Your operational instincts don't need to be grounded in product descriptions. The morning commute question isn't, how do we protect our position? It's, what do we know that transfers? Because entropy is coming for your market. It always does. But knowledge that isn't trapped in a single container, that's what survives. Not industries, not markets, not products, not the containers you built your career inside. What survives is the knowledge underneath, the operational instincts, the decision-making patterns, the reasoning that never depended on what you sold. Circuit City's inventory discipline, the pricing logic that the team stopped noticing years before the Florida collapse, the complexity management that it's invisible because it's just how we do things. And what do we do with it? You stop waiting for a hero to save you from entropy. You build infrastructure that captures reasoning as work happens. You treat everyone in your organization as a researcher with tacit knowledge worth extracting. You deploy adaptive swarms that test multiple opportunity spaces simultaneously. Small initiatives, experiments, strategic decoys. Instead of betting everything on finding your one CarMax, you adopt the drone maker posture. Commodity tools, consumer-grade AI, volume, speed, and adaptive intelligence. While traditional incumbents defend their aircraft carriers, you level up your adaptive swarm. The extraction window is open. The capabilities avalanche is picking up steam. The question is, when do you start transferring your valuables?